the sewing show that goes into detail of all the tools, techniques, and fabrics that come up on the sewing bee. And we do that because we have more time. We also do it, as you know, yes, because we have Carol Elaine here with us, Master Tailor Couturier, for the last time, Carol. Hey!
For the last time, hello, you out there. Oh, what a quick 10 weeks and what an exciting final.
It was really good, wasn't it? And yes, I can't believe where the time's gone. It started off, you know, week 1, week 2, and I was thinking, oh, 10 weeks is miles away. And then now here we are at week 10, and it's what a series it has been.
And I think that's why, you know, we were just caught up in it and didn't realize how fast time was flying, because we had so many different types of contestants. And you know, each week there was something, you know, we were rooting for different people. There was a lot of surprises in this series, I felt.
Right, well, let's have a quick talk about the final then. So this first one was the is it the I don't even know what it is. I can't say it now. Amafor. I can't say it.
Why can't I say it now either?
Oh, amorphous. Well, amorphous. There you are. That's
the amorphous dress. The amorphous dress. Not a word you use every day in your, you know, chatting with other people, but the amorphous dress, yes, I do remember that. That's some things you find in the history books, especially if you look at the history of, say, Carnaby Street and that movement there. You see a lot of that. But yes, and dealing with Lycra, 4-way stretch, which is, you know, it's essential. And if you can pick a 4-way stretch with some texture, which was what Deborah did. Yeah. And boy, she owned that fabric, and it just bent to her will. Yeah. Because that armhole binding is tricky to do, and everything just laid perfectly. It was so snug on the mannequin. I really admired that, and
that's expertise at play there, isn't it?
Yes, that's knowing how to handle. That's technical control over a very tricky fabric. So and yeah, somebody who's always sort of downgraded her talents.
Yes.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
She handled that beautifully.
And there was one part where I saw, because they highlighted how difficult those ties were going to be, because they had to mitre those little tips, didn't they? Yeah. And then it was that turning it right way out. And I remember one of the tutorials you said when we were looking at turning things out, you know, like the tips of my bunting on my flag. You said you could tease that out. And Annie, I think it was Annie, she was using a pin to tease out that.
Tease out, yes.
You said that as a tip.
Yeah, and it depends the angle that you sew it at. I mean, it's just bending that. There was how many straps? 6 or 7. And it's just bending that lace or the strap in half and then sewing an angle. Now, the closer you get to 90 degrees, the easier it's going to be to turn. But these angles were quite acute. So then, you had to tease it out. And then poor Brogan, her fabric had a foil on top and a pattern to the foil. So it wasn't going to cooperate, was it?
Yes, because actually out of all 4 of them, Brogan was the only one that went for something quite different, that foil. Well, it wasn't even a stretch. Or was it stretched one way? I can't remember with that.
I think it had a one-way stretch to it.
But it looked party-ish, didn't it? So you can understand why she would have chosen it.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Yeah. But it just didn't cooperate around the curves.
No.
You know, it was tricky because it had kind of a lattice work about it. It had kind of a warp and weft foil print on top with lots of, you know, intersections and things that didn't really go with that fluid.
No, so I presume when it was hugging the body, as we could see, that's why she got a bit of the bagging at the back, wasn't it? Because it just couldn't, what do you want, to mold or morph around?
Didn't have the stretch that it needed. Yeah.
Which ultimately is what you want, isn't it? You know, from that's Lycra, that's what you want it to do. You want it to fit and curve around everything, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. And you want it to be a tight dress, and you want to stretch that fabric around the mannequin. So the other 3 look then completely different to Brogan's entry.
Interesting with the edit there. I felt the edit was like, Mani's never going to finish.
Yeah.
And it's like deceiving, and then suddenly at the end we get Brogan fourth, Annie third, Manny second, and then Deborah first.
It is interesting how they cut and paste the edits together, because it looked like she was still cutting out when people were kind of getting the D rings on, you know.
Yeah, and we're like panicking now, aren't you, for Manny fans? You know, no, what's happening?
And of course, she narrates her own internal anxiety. Come on, Mandy! Come on, you Mandy!
Would it be something you would make him wear?
Wear? No. Maybe over a turtleneck and a pair of track pants, perhaps.
Oh dear, but good fun, and a nice sort of homage to Esme's past and her career.
Yeah.
I think that was fun to do.
I thought it was great. And this episode really, boy, did we see Esme's personality really come out.
Yeah.
Her cheekiness, her knowledge,
yeah,
her sense of fun, and then how well her and Patrick get along.
Yeah.
It's never been so clear.
All right, let's go to the transformation challenge then.
Yeah.
Which was interesting, wasn't it? Because they had all the scraps, and it's like you take the scraps together from the whole of the 10 weeks and make something that you would wear to the party, which I thought was quite fun, because there's a range of ages, isn't there? So they're going to make something completely different to each other.
Made to measure for themselves.
Yeah.
Not for someone else, for themselves. So now that you get to see the accuracy of the design, which applies to them, and then their sense of flair using not something they've chosen from the haberdashery, but something they've literally picked out of, you know, waste bins. So I rather liked them all. I felt quite sorry for Man Yi and her asymmetrical eyelets. I don't know how that happened, but it happens when you're in a rush.
Indeed.
And that's the shortest challenge, isn't it? At 90 minutes.
It is 90 minutes, and I always find it fascinating in the edit, because they all seem quite calm in this one, and Deborah was going, oh yeah, look at my designs, and I'm like thinking, you've got 90 minutes, don't talk to them about sketching out, just do it. But they all seem to be taking it in their stride, weren't they?
Yeah. I think Brogan is the only one who said, I'm panicking now because I don't think this is going to work. But
she's so good in that panic. She doesn't look like she was really panicking at all. She, out of all of them, all the sewers, I think she was the one that never looked. I don't think I saw her stressed. I don't think I ever saw her run around, panicked.
No,
did you at all? I don't think.
So she's so composed.
Oh, immaculately so.
I remember in watching them, you know, sometimes they film them all walking in, and the reason that struck me is because I've seen time and time again where Brogan just leads the pack in. And it's just something about the way she just strides in for the opening of the next week of challenge. I thought, yes, for somebody so young, she really has it together. And maybe you would know, being a teacher and all, you know, just having that responsibility and always being in front of people.
Indeed, yes, and never, because you never want to show to the kids that you don't know what's going on or that you don't know what's happening, because otherwise that's it. You just won't. So I think that's that skill there, isn't it? She might, like when she just said, oh, I think I don't know whether this is going to work, these ruffles, but actually she's panicking inside, but to the world, her class, you think she's
absolutely
got it mastered still. So it is that the art of the teacher there. And then what about seeing some of the fabrics come out? So Annie with that white and the belt of Deborah's kimono fabric.
Yes, her kimono with no contrast. Remember that one?
But I quite like that big belt. I think Patrick said, oh, I'm not too sure about the size of that, you know, around the waist there, but I actually quite liked that, I thought.
I thought it was really effective in the way that it wasn't just like a cummerbund. She'd actually created a ripple between buttons. So there was a lot of texture there to go with that rather pure top.
And the sleeves looked fab, didn't they?
That's fabulous. I know, I thought there was a really good mix. And definitely party. Yes.
Yeah, and I can understand we get onto Deborah's a party. It's more of a garden party, but there was an awful lot of sewing in Deborah's, wasn't there?
A lot, and to put in that contrast outside facing, and then trim under it, and then trim on the waist, I think there was a gingham trim on the waist and then a lace trim.
Mm.
There's a lot of elements there, and it all tied together. And you could just see, just see a great green lawn and a marquee and everything outdoors. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
That was
get your crochet out.
Yeah. Oh, right, spot on. There are a couple of comments that I didn't, like you said, any kind of a party. And also it was something that they would wear. So the comment of Esme saying, "Oh, you wouldn't put that on a large busted woman." Well, no, you wouldn't, because this woman was going to wear it.
Indeed. It was a little odd, those comments, wasn't it?
Strange, yeah.
Yeah. And over the series, I felt the judges had been better with getting it right. Maybe not so with their vocabulary and their technical language. That's something that we said we would like to see more of, didn't we?
And that is one of our aims, and that will continue to be one of our aims, to just break it down, call things by their right name, so you don't say, "Oh, this was a stand-up mess," or "This was just wobbly," or "This didn't work at all." We want to know why, and there's an easy way through it.
But so that was their transformation round, which was great fun. Brogan 4th, Deborah 3rd, Annie 2nd, Magny 1st. So at the halfway point, it's Magny had come 2nd and then come 1st, and Deborah had come 1st and 3rd. It was really between those three, wasn't it? Really, Deborah, Magny, and Annie.
Yeah, and this is what made it so exciting, because we thought, well, this made to measure could change everything.
Yeah, we know, we've seen before, if you've been bottom in the first 2 rounds, like Brogan is now, you could come out with a brilliant made to measure and save yourself if one of the top ones perhaps doesn't succeed as well.
Yeah, and has a tough time and doesn't execute their piece well. Yes, you can reverse the standings.
So all to play for, to create a glamorous jumpsuit for a kind of like a superior party event, they were saying, weren't they? Like maybe a red carpet event, or a concert event with or speeches and things. It was pushed as a glamorous event, wasn't it?
Yes, a gala, an opening, full of celebrities, full of the press, all eyes on everybody. So yes, this calls for a modern fabric approach. You have to be in style, on the pulse, all the rest, and stand out.
Yes, and that's where I think is an interesting debate when we look at perhaps some of their fabric choices. Does standing out necessarily mean flamboyant, glossy, shimmery fabrics, or does stand out mean the type of cut and the style? It could be a lot of things.
It could be. I think impact can fall in different categories. You can have loads of bling, loads of diamante, loads of feathers. You can have a very teasy outfit, very provocative outfit that can have impact, or it could be a classic that is deceptively simple, but it harkens back to a time when was uber luxurious. So it can be by association, or it can be something like just a very jolly, bold graphic cloth, like we saw with Deborah's piece. I thought that had great impact and fit the bill, but also the sort of the sequence and sort of the Duchess satin.
Indeed, yes. So we had a mix across them all. Well, let's have a talk about all 4 of them then. Annie with the metallic jumpsuit and bow, and the stripe, the go faster stripe down the legs.
Yeah, just perfection. I mean, a mix of modern styling and difficult things to execute. That kind of dinner trouser stripe down the side, or the sporty stripe, whatever you want to call it. I thought it looked more like a tuxedo.
Did it? Yes.
Yeah. And then to inset pockets, what you couldn't see. You just couldn't see when the model was walking. And then that just lovely grand bow, which she was then, because she had the bone bodice. So she had that height, which wasn't going to falter, so she could hook the bow on top. I just took it just worked beautifully. And I loved her inspiration. So she took something from the red carpet
Yeah.
and used that style, sort of a backless with a huge bow. And really, she couldn't go wrong. For me, I thought it slipped a little, it slipped down a little bit on the model. So it looked like the trouser rise was a little tall and a bit baggy, but I think that was only because
Yeah.
the whole jumpsuit just shimmied down a little bit.
You noticed that when the model was walking down the catwalk, didn't you? That sort of baggy bit around
Yes.
that area.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as I say, nitpicking there.
Well, absolutely.
Brogan then next on my list, because it's in alphabetical order, in that short jumpsuit. Didn't you call it a hop suit?
Yes. Hot pants. Yeah, that was quite safe.
Yes.
Because you had a stretchy bodice, which would accommodate, adjustable straps, which would accommodate, and then a tie-on multi-patterned metallic tulle skirt, which it was really a cut piece of fabric gathered in. So quite a safe make, which we've come to kind of we've got used to that.
Yeah, and we have talked about that in previous episodes. Sometimes as a sewer or in any craft, if you want to do something well, sometimes you do a safe make. Yes. And if you get a safe make done superbly, is that better than going for a really complicated make and then fudging it a bit and not quite getting that execution?
Yes, some people just aren't risk takers. You know, it just doesn't fit their, you know, their personality. And I think, but I would have loved to have seen, you know, that maybe in full length.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it ends up looking a bit hippie when you have shorts like that. Shorts and then a skirt that doesn't reach the ground, and all the focus ends up kind of in that area. So, but anyway, no, nice submission and beautiful cloths chosen.
Indeed, and in a way, we have said that about Brogan before. She knows what she's good at, and she does that. And that, you know, that's a decision, a journey you go down, and completely respect that. But for the final, you would have thought, oh, go on, do something. Just try something different, or, you know, that maybe that really challenges you, and maybe something different.
Exactly. Last chance after 10 weeks, you know, just go for it. Because you don't know at the start of the competition where you're going to be.
No.
And how that could tip the balance in your favor if you were to try something outside of your comfort zone.
And we've just touched on Deborah's anyway, but that jumpsuit reminded me of kind of like 80s. I felt that was like Anneka Rice in that.
Yes, yeah, me too. I felt exactly. I got the same thing, you know, same feeling from that. Yeah, just bold, and then the mix of this outrageous graphic print but then lace as well.
Yeah,
it's like okay, you can do that, I suppose.
But I could imagine that, so say a gala event and someone walking past and you go, ooh, like that. It's that sort of thing, isn't it?
It's a head turner. And that's what we were just talking about. You know, impact can be that kind of a attention getter.
And then Magny with the jumpsuit and the cape. We've seen capes before. We love capes, don't we? And there's another cape there. And you can swish it when you want, can't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would look lovely coming down the catwalk.
Wouldn't it?
But it had a very clean, sort of a plainer look, even though she had the sequins. Yeah. It still I think lacked the impact compared to the others. Maybe because of the color. Maybe that teal is a color that's not easy to, you know.
Yes, maybe you had that because you had the Harlequin idea. Yes. Maybe you had the other color contrasted more of a shocking contrast, rather than the two all went together, didn't they?
They did, and it looked a little bit less than impactful.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I mean the fit of it didn't catch your eye either. The fit of it, I suppose the bodice was quite nice and modern looking, but I think just that sea of teal in the trouser.
Yes.
I just think for me, if it was a bit more fitted or had a bit more about it, maybe it would have had a greater impact. But anyway, nice make again. And then that theater with the cape, that was spoke so well coming down the catwalk.
So where were you at this point then? The judges were off talking about all 3 rounds. Where were you? Were you chatting to Mike or shouting to him? Oh, Annie's got this. Come on, Annie. Or were you Man Yi? Come on. Where were you at this point? I know we've been Deborah fans all through, haven't we?
Yes, yeah. I was absolutely with Annie at this point. It's just because the technical challenge she set up for herself.
Yeah.
The lovely impact, her inspiration. You know,
yeah.
And the colors and the fabric. Duchess satin is tricky to get to lay right. You saw how the trouble Man Yi had with the Georgette and the sequence, the rippling seams. Duchess satin can play tricks on you as well, but Annie just handled it so beautifully. And because the bow postured the way it did, I thought, wow.
Well,
that is no contest. So that's where I was.
Yeah, and then she got it. They had the big reveal. It was lovely seeing all the other sewers there as well, wasn't it?
Yes, and the
and family, yes. And then the big reveal for Annie to get it, and I think a lot of people were cheering and jumping up and down.
I think so, and the suspense lasted to the very end.
Yes, yeah.
But, we thought, what's going on? We have our first final with 4 contestants.
Yeah.
What's this all about? And then, just these sewers, particularly Annie, who's just sort of risen. For half of the contest, she suddenly became the person you had your eye on, and so anything was possible. So
and it was, and actually when you look at it, I know we said from that point of view Annie's dress, but those 3 in particular over those 2 rounds and 3 rounds, it could have gone to anyone at any point, really. Those 3 were quite amazing.
Yes,
standard wise.
Yeah. And they all just had some wonderful surprises. Like I said, Deborah with her theatrics.
Yeah.
In her made to measure. And Man Yi really went outside of herself. She really picked some things that she had to chase to get
absolutely
to get right.
Yeah.
And then Annie's just her gradual increase in competence and confidence. Wow.
Well, it is a case, isn't it? There we are. So we've got to week 10. We have our winner of the Sewing Bee Series 8, Annie. Wow, what a ride it's been.
Congratulations to her and to all of them.
Yes, when you look back of the garments of the week, when we look at those 4 finalists, Broken sadly didn't get any garments of the week. Annie had gotten 3, Deborah had gotten 3, and Manny had got 1. If I've done my maths right, I'm sure I have. Yeah. So you can kind of go, well, actually that's right then, in a way. If Annie's in the final, Deborah's in the final. The only other people who got garment of the week was Marnie.
Yes.
And Jill.
And
so you've got Annie and Deborah in the final with it 3 each. That's 6 weeks gone, isn't it?
That works out. Yep, that definitely works out.
Now, speaking of winners, we need to pick a winner for our competition. Obviously, due to the change in having no one being sent home for the semi-final, it meant that everyone that put a guess of who they thought were going to be the final 3 means everyone has gone into the final. 21 people had left their guess of which 3 would go to the final, so they're all entered into the final. Here we go. Start and pick random winner. Go for it. It is Francoise Timms. Round of applause.
Congratulations.
In Francoise's comment, they say Mani, Deborah and Annie for the final. I absolutely love the All Gathered Up series. I have learned so much. Thanks, Stuart and Carol.
Oh, that feels good, huh?
There you are. How good is that?
Thank you, Francois.
So, Francoise, we are sending you those sewing machine needles. So I will email you or a comment. If you can then give me your email, we can then chat on email for an address to send it to, and then to arrange me, you and Francoise to come all together for half hour. That's going to be good, isn't it?
perfect. I'm so looking forward to that.
And we could probably tailor it to whatever you want, maybe, Francoise. Maybe if you've got something in particular you want to ask Carol, it's half an hour. Half an hour, it's gonna be great. Oh, speaking of prize winners, everyone, look what I got from Carol. She sent me, these are beautiful. So I take the bow off. Look.
There you go, take the bow off. Well, we were talking about Japan Week, weren't we?
We were.
We went to Japan, and on my last trip to Tokyo, which has been too far away right now, I'm desperate to go back, but I found this little shop that sold all different sizes of these, and so I bought a number of them in a range of sizes.
Oh.
And I got used to them, but I wonder if you know, it's different to scissors, don't you think, Stuart?
Very, yes.
I hope you get used to them. They're beautifully sprung loaded, and yeah, and it's got that lovely insignia on it.
They have, and they are thin. Viewers, they are so thin. And that's where you say it does take some getting used to, because you pick them up and you can easily, it could just sort of slip like that, can't they? So you have to sort of, you'll develop a way of holding them, I presume, don't you?
Yes, you'll know where to grab them from.
Yeah.
You'll know how to set them in your hand.
I think I'll be like that. I think I'll, rather than like how I thought I was going to do them, like that, I think it's going to be more of a grip, and then almost like your thumb and your finger.
That's right. That looks very good to me from here. That looks exactly what to do. Yeah, because it's just for snipping thread and getting close in. You know, if you have to clip something, you know, like sometimes you clip into the point. They work very good for that too.
Now, before we finish, I have to confess, Carol, I didn't finish the wrap dress.
We all understand. You're talking to us.
I did a bit more, but I turned into the Hulk, I'm afraid, with the sleeve. So I'm going to ask for a last minute bit of advice.
Okay, let's have a look.
And it was such an easy thing to do, but I did struggle. So here's my wonderful sleeve. It's a butterfly sleeve.
Oh yes, okay.
Can you see that?
Gotcha.
I sewed that.
You're in our sleeve, yeah.
That's where it's going to go into the sleeve, and then this is the edge. Now this has to be hemmed. It's already overlocked. You'd think it'd be easy just to hem that. No.
Well, the thing about the butterfly sleeve is you can see inside it when you're wearing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you really want to press the whole of that overlocking away, and then you might even run a hand-based. Just press it so that you can no longer see the overlock. So you're talking about 1/4 of an inch.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. And then press that down and then turn it again. So do a double turn hem.
Why didn't I ask you before? It's like, because so I did it, and I didn't change my thread either. And then I thought I better use like a zigzag stitch to stretch, but I probably didn't need to do that. And it just looked terrible. So, and I thought, oh, I should have asked you first.
Okay,
I couldn't do a hem. I did all that. I did all that wonderful. I put the stay stitch. I put the stay tape on.
Very nice.
No problems with that. And then I went and failed at doing a simple hem.
Well, that's okay. That's not an issue at all. Just take out your old hem and then simply press really crisp, just so you can no longer see the overlap. Yep, just there. And then when that's all secured down with either a press or a base, turn it again. And then, so your hem should be no more than 3/8 of an inch when you're turning it the second time. Try to keep it to 1/4.
Oh, really?
1/4 and another 1/4. Yeah.
I think I might then hand sew that. That might just be easier to do.
I was going to suggest you do that, because it's tricky then to get that stretch. Now you've got all those layers and to feed it through. And you really, if you don't see it, it's better, because like I said, a butterfly sleeve, you can look right up. The wearer, you can see right inside that sleeve. And you might do a French seam in the underarm.
Yeah, rather than that being just, because I thought if that's going to be like, that's pressed open, that's then going to be folded over like that. It's going to look horrible, isn't it?
It's not, no, the overlapping.
Those, with them on show.
Yeah, not perfect, not ideal. Just change that into a French seam. You've got enough room to do that. And
I know how to do a French seam because you did a brilliant tutorial on it.
Remember to press it open.
Indeed.
Remember to press the first seam opened, just on the outside of your overlock. Press it open and then fold it round right sides together and then close it in. Make sure you encase all that overlock.
Yeah. See, I knew you'd have all the answers.
Stay tuned, campers.
Yes. By the time we come back, which viewers, I'm sure it will be before next March. We did something last autumn, didn't we? We had our fun So What show. We might even bring So What back for a second season in the autumn. We'll do something, won't we?
We'll do something. I've got one idea that might work. I don't know if the listeners are interested in this, but we might do a series of all the pattern challenges from this series. You know, so we might look at the sailor's trouser and talk about that in more detail. Look at the amorphous dress. Look at, other challenges. I can't remember them all, but that might make an interesting series.
Indeed. Love it. If you have any ideas, viewers, because I know many of you said, oh, please make some videos, don't stop. Well, if you've got some ideas, put them in the comments below. It will probably inspire other ideas as well. You never know where it goes from. It's like brainstorming, isn't it? You know, where it leads to. You get an idea, then you develop that idea and so forth. So whatever it is, I'm sure we will be doing something, because I know I will be asking questions for sure.
Well, we have to see that dress finished. That's one.
Indeed.
And I can show you actually the process of making a happy, because one of our viewers has commissioned happy and has given me, she's got this on her travels. This is a cotton sari.
What, one of our viewers that watches the show?
Yes.
Wow.
And she says, I like to remain anonymous, so she doesn't comment. But look at that beautiful border. So I'm going to try to use the border of this and as the neckband, and I think it's just wide enough. But I love her print.
Oh, that's exquisite.
Beautiful and summery. So I'm going to be making a happy.
Oh, well, look at that. Isn't that wonderful how the viewers have got involved in so many ways? And yes, you viewer out there that doesn't comment, no problems with that at all. It's not for everyone. It's just something that I suppose in that generation we keep doing. We're saying we want to talk and communicate, but just watching is fine, and getting involved in watching us. It all helps everything anyway, whether it helps you develop your sewing, whether it still helps us as a channel with views and everything. So yes, doesn't matter that they don't comment at all. Having you here watching us is the most important thing, isn't it?
It sure is. It sure is. Yeah.
Well, there we are. For the last time, that's all from me and all from Carol from All Gathered Up. And we will see you whenever the next video is, and maybe even next year for Series 9 of the Great British Sewing Bee. Thanks, everyone. One last bye from us both.
Bye-bye. Bye, Stuart. Bye.